The country of Denmark is mocking President Donald Trump over his apparent interest in trying to buy the island of Greenland. I kid you not. Now, the Wall Street Journal first reported on Trump's desire to purchase Greenland on Thursday night. According to Rebecca Ballhaus, Trump has repeatedly expressed interest, with varying degrees of seriousness, and that's always fun, in buying Greenland, asking advisors whether it be feasible and directing the White House counsel to look into it. Come on. I, Look, I thought you can't be serious, right? I saw this article and I'm like, the Onion's working overtime. Now, look, I understand that the Onion has been having a really, really hard time the past 3 years, and probably a little bit longer since Donald Trump even announced his candidacy. I mean, because right now it feels like we're living in satire. We're living in the kind of world where the Onion doesn't really have a whole lot to work with. Man, they've already done everything that's insane. How much crazier can we go and still be somewhat believable? So, but no, I saw this and I said, there's no way this can be true. No way. Why would Donald Trump? Why would the U.S. president want to buy Greenland? Especially considering how it's not actually green; it's covered in ice. Uh, ice, Iceland is green, Greenland is ice, right? I don't know if he knows that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't know that because Donald Trump is not a very stable genius. He's not a smart person. So, but no, it turns out this is totally true. Totally true. The Washington Post, which cited two people with direct knowledge of the president's directive, reported that Trump's request had both bewildered aides, some of whom continue to believe it isn't serious. However, they also noted that Trump has been mentioning it for weeks. It's almost like he's like, can we buy Greenland? No, I'm serious. Can we buy Greenland? I mean, I'm not entirely serious, but Greenland. I mean, we should totally ask, if we could buy Greenland. Now, either this is the most epic running gag ever, and if so, that would actually humanize Trump quite a bit, and I would give him a lot of credit. Or, what's more likely, the whims of a mentally disturbed man-child. Now, the Post did report that it was, quote, unclear why Trump might want the United States to buy Greenland, though his administration has identified the Arctic as an area of growing importance to U.S. national security interests. Okay, well, say that's true, right? That it is important to our national security. Well, good news. We already have a military base there. In fact, it is the Thule Air Base, and it is, in fact, the U.S.'s northernmost military base in the world, located just 1,500 kilometers from the North Pole and about 1,200 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. So guess what? We already have a presence there. Congratulations. So then why in the world would we even try to offer to buy the entire island? And by the way, it's not like it's uninhabited. It has about 50,000 people, about 56,000 people living there already. So those are Dutch citizens. That's insanity. And again, they're Dutch citizens because it belongs to Denmark. So now the way that they have it set up is pretty interesting. It's a semi-autonomous government. The local government makes a majority of the policy, right? And it leaves foreign policy and security to the capital of Copenhagen, which is in Denmark. So now, here's the funny thing, right? If Denmark were even willing to sell, and they're not, what would an arrangement even look like? And that's the curious question, right? The other thing is, don't we already have island territories to look after? Like Puerto Rico? Maybe we should, before we even consider trying to buy other islands, maybe we should take care of the ones that we already have. Again, Puerto Rico. Again, the whole thing's ridiculous, right? But here's the Danish response, and you're going to love this. Now, this is Soren Espersen, foreign affairs spokesman for the Danish People's Party, talking to local broadcaster DR, quote, if he is truly contemplating this, then this is the final proof that he has gone mad. The thought of Denmark selling 50,000 citizens to the United States is completely ridiculous. And by the way, if you're a Danish citizen, that would be a bit of a downgrade. Now, again, the reason I say that is not to knock on the United States, even though it sounds like it, right? But let's look at the facts. Denmark is a flourishing social democracy. All citizens enjoy universal health care, free or low cost college, and a very high standard of living. Going to America, becoming an American citizen, would be a downgrade. Because, the United States has quite a bit of problems that only progressives seem to be worried about and actually wanting to provide real solutions to. Now, there's more here. Got a quote here from Martin Lidegaard of the Danish Social Liberal Party. He says, "We're talking about real people, and you can't just sell Greenland like an old colonial power. But what we can take seriously is the U.S. stakes in an interest in the Arctic is significantly on the rise." Why? Well, there's only one reason why the U.S. would actually want more of a stake in the Arctic: oil. I mean, look, here's the thing. Climate change is wiping out ice in the Arctic as we speak, right? Now, instead of saying, hey, let's do something about that, let's actually put a stop to that, do a Green New Deal, encourage all the other countries around the world to adopt cleaner energy, and stop putting so much carbon into the atmosphere. We're not doing that. No. What he has is likely people in his ear saying, hey, man, look, if the Arctic melts, then that's going to make it easier to forget the oil. And so, look, this went from fun, of course, to absolute disaster, as usual with Donald Trump. Now, some of the good news here is that Greenland, obviously, they're not in favor of this. Neither is Denmark. So buying Greenland, totally out of the question. In fact, you have Aja Chemnitz Larsen, or Asia. I'm not sure how to say that name. I'm bad with Danish. But this is the Danish MP from Greenland's second largest party. IA told Reuters on Friday that she sure a majority in Greenland believes it is better to have a relation to Denmark than the United States in the long term. Again, unfortunately, that's true. I love this country and I love America, right? And I'm fighting to make it better, as are most progressives, right? But what Danish person would ever consider wanting to be an American citizen? I mean, think about it, right? We have, and I don't, obviously I don't speak for all Danes, right? But I would think that a majority of Danish people would rather stay in Denmark than become U.S. citizens. Why do I say that? Well, it's because right now you have a mass shooting basically every single day. You have a lack of universal health care. You have a giant right-wing fueled hate movement and an idiot president who thinks he's king and can just buy islands willy-nilly. I mean, if you were somebody overseas in Europe, would you want to come over here? Unless, of course, you're incredibly wealthy. The answer would probably be no. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.